It's Chris Lewitt here. Have you ever wondered about the nailless lines for clay courts? They're from Germany and I use them at my club here in Manchester, Vermont. Let me show you how you stamp the lines in, how you mud them in, stamp them in, and you can get them sunk really well without any kind of nail. So this is like new spring season now, and these lines have been in all winter, and I didn't have to pull them up. I didn't have to nail them, take out the nails. I didn't have to nail them down. So it's really cool. Completely nailless from Germany, and I get a lot of interest about these, so I'm just going to show you how you do it. So if you look down here, I have the lines from last season, and some of them stayed in and some of them popped up over the winter. And what's really cool is because there's no nails, come a little closer, because there's no nails, you don't have to take all the nails out and reset the lines. You can, if they come out, you can just pull them up, and then you can pull them taut again and then resync them. You don't have to do that tedious process of taking out all the nails and then realigning the tapes and then nailing them back in, which I hate that process so much. So I really enjoyed this year. I left these in for the winter and they were still there, and all I had to do was just pull a few of them tight and stamp them in. I'll show you the stamping process. So what you do is you saturate the clay. Show you a brief process here. What I like to do is I kind of create some mud. Remember, we got no nails here at all. Just the you can use stakes at the corners of the lines, so they do come with stakes. I haven't been using the big stakes. There's two stakes that you can use at the end of the lines. There's a giant big stake, and then there's smaller stakes. I've only been using the smaller ones this season, and it seems to be enough to hold them in. And so what you do is you take a stamper. I'm using the top of the sledgehammer, but there's also specially made stampers that you can get from Germany. And you basically just tap it in. You get the clay saturated and muddied, and then you tap it in until it sets. Then it has to bake in the sun. So you have to have a damp surface. The subsurface has to be saturated, and you go through this tamping process with some sort of weighted implement. I just use the top of this sledgehammer, and it's like a rubber mallet type topper, and you just tamp all the way down. You have to be sure that on a hot day the clay doesn't dry out, because if you tamp it in, if you stamp it in with if the clay is dry, it won't hold. So it has to be moist. You have to have saturation, and you just do a segment at a time. So if you see that segment there, that's looking pretty good. No nails. I don't know if you can look up close here. The line is set in there, and then you just continue along the line stamping in. And then what I do afterwards is, I can show you in another video, is I take some additional material and I spread it over the top, and I sort of level it out and get some additional setting with some new material. So this is the first step, and then I'll try to like mud it a little more with some extra material later on. So that's how you do it. I hope you enjoy. I know a lot of people are following the channel. They like the clay court videos. I'm a tennis coach, but I just happen to have a couple red clay courts. So I hope that helps you guys. Consider getting these lines from Germany. I can have no more nails. And I say, let's do hashtag no more nails. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, so here's what I mean. Just a little bonus about how you set the lines in. After you mud them down, you do one last pass with new material. You do one last pass with new material. You sweep that in and level it, and then you let that, you got to saturate that and then bake that in, and then the line should be set for the whole season. So this is the last step of the process. You lay down new material, you work the new material into the lines that you just set in, and then you saturate, and then you level the whole thing.
All right, cool.
Thanks. People are really interested. I get a lot.
That's cool.
I just made some random, red clay videos.
Okay.
And I have a tennis channel. So this is an example of a court we haven't worked on yet. And over the winter, a few of the lines popped up. So this is kind of what it looks like. And then you can see some of the lines stayed down and some of the lines ramped up. But it's really not as big a deal as with nails, with lines that are nailed. If that happens, you have to redo the entire line. You have to take all the nails out, and then you have to
pull the line taut and then nail back in. In this case, all I have to do is just lift the line up, pull it tight, and then mud it back in with no unnailing and then renailing, which saves a lot of time.